Hello, everyone. It is week 38 of Reasons to Hope. We have this week a very special guest, and that's why we are going live in the prime time hour. And we've had some technical difficulties. If y'all were here a few minutes ago and you come back, thank you so very much for being here and for being patient. Sometimes life gives us something entirely different than what we expect, even on Instagram. So I'm really excited because we have an incredible guest. I have been reading her book all week. It is brand new and is out on Daily Bread Publishing. She is a veterinarian, she's a public speaker, consultant, she's a minister, she is a writer, she is a corporate trainer, she is Miss America 1990. And I'm so excited to have her join us for Reasons to Hope. Without further ado, we're going to see how Instagram does with setting up this conversation.
Hello.
Hi!
Finally!
I am so happy to see you, like even more happy than I thought I would be.
I'm happy to see you too.
Oh my goodness. How are you?
What is going on here?
I don't know, but I feel like, all the good things in life you have to work a little bit harder for. So I'm totally ready. I'm up for it.
Well, it's only appropriate that this happened talking about my book, because the whole point of the book is to not give up and to not be discouraged by setbacks and to learn and improve and get better. So kudos to you for not giving up.
And to you. Thank you for hanging around and waiting for us to figure this out. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's absolutely my pleasure.
So I was thinking this whole time this was going on of the story you tell in the book there's a couple of moments you go through in your pageant history where you're standing on stage and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're expecting a certain outcome, and then you hear another response that almost becomes predictable in its own way, but every single time you're expecting this different outcome. I'm so curious. I want to jump right in, and for everybody who's joining us, thank you so much for being here. This is the book Courageous Faith. It is out on Daily Bread Publishing. Debbie, so has the response in the way, I'm curious about, like, how does it feel to have the book out in the world, and has the response been what you expected so far?
Oh my goodness, it has blown me away, quite frankly. It's been a great response. I've been hearing from people, especially on social media, or old friends, or women I competed with in pageants 30 years ago. And they've just been so kind and gracious in their assessment of the book and the stories that I tell. And so I'm enormously grateful for that. And Kate, this was one of those things where, and I don't mean to sound weird about it, but this has been in my heart and in my spirit to do, for 25, 28 years, for a long time. And we don't have enough time here for me to explain why it took me so long, but it's been a long time coming. And I knew I had to be obedient to this, that I couldn't leave this earth without fulfilling this purpose. So in that respect, it's been a long journey. But when it finally came together, it came together quickly. And I'm almost in disbelief that the book is out there in the world. I gave birth to the baby.
Yes.
The baby's learning how to walk.
That's so beautiful. Well, it came so quickly when it came, but it's a whole lifetime of experience that you're sharing. So
yes, indeed. I wanted to share certain stories. It's a memoir for sure. I call it a memoir with a faith message. So it's a memoir for sure. I share a lot of my life's journey, but it's not an autobiography. It's not I was born on this date and then I moved here and then I did that. What I did was I picked experiences and seasons in my life that taught me valuable lessons about determination, about purpose, about faith, about failure. So it's so ironic that we had all of this experience trying to get on Instagram Live together. My first chapter is failure. Because I believe great success is built on a foundation of failure, which means you keep trying when you
Hmm.
don't hit the mark. And what I know for sure is that there are many people out there, myself included at certain points in my life, where we try, things don't go the way we want, they don't happen in the time we think it should happen, it doesn't look like what we thought it should look like. And then we just throw up our hands and go, oh, that must not have been, that must not have been right for me, or I'm not the right person, or I don't have what it takes, or I'm not worthy, and then just give up. And I believe that we were created by a great, big, awesome God, and He put great, big, awesome purpose within us.
Hmm.
And our one and only job is to say yes to that,
Yes.
and to keep trying and to keep improving, keep looking for allies and advocates
Hmm.
and growing wisdom until we fulfill our God-given purpose on this earth. So
Mm.
what I really hope is that when people read these stories and these principles that are attached to the story, that they see some of themselves, and are encouraged that I can make it no matter what the circumstances look like, no
Hmm.
matter what conventional wisdom says or popular opinion says.
Yes.
That we all have a divine, awesome purpose, and our one and only job is not to give up until we walk into that purpose.
Oh, I feel like I just went to church. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, speaking of some of those stories, I would you be willing to share? I don't know if you can because we don't want to, it's not like I don't want to have a spoiler alert moment, but there was one story in the book that you talk about the dress. Are- If you want to hold for them to actually read the book, I completely understand and we can just talk about the themes behind that story. But I felt like it really spoke to me because I have definitely encountered situations where I couldn't afford something that was needed for something or I couldn't access it. And then, I felt like there are two choices at that. There's a choice to say like that's not for me, like you were saying, or there's the opportunity to discover another way
Yeah,
that
yeah,
builds
absolutely.
resilience. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the old saying, necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Yes.
And so the story you're talking about, tell a little bit of it, but you got to get the book to get
I
the
got
whole
you. I
story.
got you. Yes.
But when I started in pageants, I mean, I don't come from a wealthy family. And, we were very solidly middle class, if not lower middle class, and could not afford the, thousands of dollars gowns that were hand beaded, especially back in those days. I'm a little bit
Mhm.
old. So this was back in the days of beaded gowns, where there be these gowns with literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of tiny beads that were hand sewn on, usually in a sweatshop by poor children in a third world country. But these gowns were still very expensive, and we just couldn't afford them.
Mhm.
And I wanted one. I thought in order to be competitive, I had to have a beaded gown. And so since we couldn't afford one, I couldn't even afford to rent one. There was a designer who said, listen, if you bead the fabric, I'll make the dress for what it costs me to make it, and not charge for a profit. And so I spent off hours. I was in college at the time. So between classes, in the evening, on weekends, sometimes early in the morning before classes, he set up a little space for me in the back room of his shop. And I would go in and sit over a loom and hand bead the fabric so I could have a beaded dress. And it's a metaphor for life, that there are sometimes things that are beyond our grasp, but if we're creative and innovative, and
Yes.
if we have I really believe in villages, have a circle around us who
Yes.
really are out for our good, then we can achieve things that seem impossible. And I got to have my beaded gown at the Miss Arkansas pageant, but I and a couple of my friends, who I love and appreciate dearly, hand beaded it ourselves. So, we shouldn't give up, even if we don't see the conventional approach to a problem.
Yes.
Think outside the box.
Oh,
Okay, what can I do? What resources do I have? I didn't have $1,000, but I did have two functioning hands, and I used what I had. And that's what we should do in life. Use what we have.
yes. I love it. Do you still have that dress?
No, I don't have it. I think my mother finally, it was so funny when I left home to go to veterinary school, she started slowly but surely giving away my pageant wardrobe to other girls who didn't have stuff.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I think she gave it away, but I have plenty of pictures of it.
that's amazing.
And
No,
there's
that's
a
a
picture
good,
in the book, in fact. There's pictures
yes.
in the front and the back flap, and there's a picture of it in the book.
That's so cool. Wow. Yeah, I was super inspired by that story and so many others. I wanted to ask you, so you talk about the hot summers in Arkansas and all these really beautiful. I know it's not an autobiography, but I really appreciate the moments that you're sharing from your life that really give me a sense that I'm in the story or I can actually experience to some degree the scene, right? And so you're in these hot summers and you talk about your mom and sort of the way she was moving around the house and the things you all would do and a huge key part of that for it sounds like for you and then for me experiencing it through your book is this presence of prayer in the everyday life, in the practicalities of everyday life.
Yeah.
And so I am curious for you. It's very clear in your book how centered you are in the practice of prayer as a modality of your faith. And
Mhm.
so these days, I'm curious, how does your prayer life like unfold on a daily basis? Where are you? What's a natural sort of progression for you throughout the day with your prayer?
Oh, I love that question. Thank you for asking. Yeah, in the book, I write this line that prayer was the soundtrack of my childhood, and that's very true. Every event was punctuated by prayer, started by prayer, undergirded, and so that's kind of in my DNA, if you will. And so now, as an adult, and now an aging lady, I start my conversation with God the moment I open my eyes in the morning. And that conversation continues all day long until the moment I close my eyes. And I do have dedicated, what some would call quiet time or devotion. I do that every morning. It's just a part of my routine. But I'm in communication with the Lord all day long. So when I reach, a point in the day and I'm frustrated, God, I need help. Help me not slap this person across their face. And so I'm in the middle of a conversation. I'm on staff as a pastor at a church here in Michigan, and so I'm often counseling with or praying with someone. And in the course of that conversation, inside, I'm praying, Lord, tell me what I need to say. What are the words they need to hear? So it is an ongoing, unending dialogue with God all day long, from the moment I open my eyes to the second I close them. And I don't know how to live life any other way.
It's beautiful. I mean, it seems to be the way that we are the sort of opportunity that we're invited into is sort of this constant state of being in God's presence or choosing or finding, opening ourselves up to that connection, right? So speaking of that connection, for me, I find that to be maybe more open or easier to sort of find out in nature. A lot of the times when it's quiet or when I'm somewhere, in the vastness of nature, I feel like, and even for non-believers, I think there's that sense when you go and you see something huge in nature, if you're at the Grand Canyon or whatever, it's just this like sense of awe and wonder that I always think of Ecclesiastes, where it says he's placed eternity in our hearts, and no man can fathom what God has done. Like, I feel like I see that in nature. And I'm curious for you, do you have a place you like to go outside? Are you a nature person? Where do you find inspiration?
Yeah, I find inspiration. I do love nature, and I think the majesty of nature, to me, just invokes the glory of God. I was just telling someone today who said they'd never been to Hawaii, and I was born in Hawaii. I don't remember being there as a child, but I've been back a few times as an adult, and I often say you can't be in a place to me like Hawaii, this beautiful tropical paradise, and not believe in God, because the majesty and the splendor is just so overwhelming. And it doesn't even have to be, the tropics, seeing just the beautiful flowers in a plain or a beautiful riverbed these things just speak to me of the majesty and the creativity of God. So yeah, just like you, Kate, nature does it, but I love water.
Oh, me
Big
too.
body water. So sitting on a beach, looking out over the ocean where I cannot see the end of the ocean, just
Yeah.
always brings me to a place of reverence and praise.
I love that. Are you up near Lake Michigan where you are?
Yes. Yeah, we're not that far from Lake Michigan. It's about 20 minutes away, and that's one of our favorite activities in the summer. Of course, it's not
Yes.
warm for that long here in Michigan, so we have to take advantage of it
Right,
when
right.
we get it. But I love going to the beach. And of course, the Great Lakes, particularly Lake Michigan, is so big. It looks like the ocean because you can't see the other side.
It really
Um,
does.
yeah, and then just the sound of the water, the
Mm.
waves. I don't know. It just, it reminds me of the voice of God and how it's just described in a number of places in the Bible. So I usually, even though I'm out on the beach and I'm eating junk food, playing around with my daughter and my husband, I almost always have just spontaneous devotion because it's
Yes.
just so gorgeous. Yeah.
I love that spontaneous devotion. I'm gonna steal that. That's great. Oh my gosh. So I would love to know what advice you would give to young people or older people or me about you have gone through your life and you have figured out a way to constantly show up and constantly put yourself out there, regardless of whatever control you do or don't have of the outcome. And it sounds to me like that's been through your faith in God and through a practice of prayer. When you are about to have, say, a high pressure interview or something goes wrong technically or whatever else, how do you handle that in the moment? And do you have a sort of any sort of advice you would share for us to help us to stay grounded and remember who we really are and what we're there for?
Absolutely. I love this question because it's something that I try to live out every day. And it even just happened in my life in the last couple of days. So, as I mentioned to you, I'm on the pastoral staff of a church. I'm the leadership development pastor. And so, part of my job is to create what we call leadership enhancement events. And so, I planned a conference, a one-day conference. We brought in nationally known speakers. And it was an awesome day. But for 30 years, I've been a speaker. I speak at conferences. I don't
Yeah.
plan conferences. So this was way outside my skill set and my experience. It was bigger than me. And whenever we are willing to take something on that's bigger than us, especially as believers, it forces us to trust God. I knew right away I couldn't do this on my own. And so every step of the way, I was asking the Holy Spirit, I was asking God, show me what to do. Show me who to talk to, where to go for advice. Whose advice do I believe? And so it was just consulting God every
Mm.
step of the way and doing my part. I had lunches and coffees with people who do this kind of stuff. And,
Mhm.
what are your best practices? And what did you learn? What do you wish you had done differently? And I gathered all that information. And I say all of that, okay, to say this on Friday night, this past Friday night, the night before the conference, I'd done everything I knew to do to put on the best conference I knew how. And one of my favorite prayers I learned from a speaker, I said, God, I've done everything I know how to do. Now, I step out of the way to give you room to do what only you can.
Mm.
And that's how I live my life. And that's what I recommend for you and for anyone that watches this is there is a requirement for us to use our talents, right? And
Mhm.
that story of Matthew tells us we are to use what God has given us and to maximize it. But really, we achieve supernatural success when we do everything we know to do and then back out of the way and let God do what only He can do. That's true success. That's true significance. And that is achieving things that are above and beyond anything that we could think or imagine.
Mm. Supernatural success, spontaneous devotion. This is also good.
I'm giving you a little
Oh
sound
my
bite.
Oh my gosh. Well, because I know that we are way past what I asked for you to share with us this evening, time-wise, I think what I'd really love to know is what we all talk about every week as we've been writing this book of hope together. What is giving you reasons to hope these days?
So, I just turned 56 yesterday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
I meant to
Thank
tell
you.
you that, and then I got all confused. I knew it was your birthday.
Right? Yeah. So, what's giving me hope is just pure life. I'm so grateful, and I'll get emotional thinking about it. Today, people lost loved ones. Today, there were people who woke up this morning not knowing it was the last time they were going to wake up. Today, people got bad news that's going to change the trajectory of their life. And so every day that I wake up, and I've got the full use of my mind and my body, and my family is with me, and I have, I don't live in a mansion, but it's a beautifully comfortable, well-appointed home. I'm grateful. And so what gives me hope is the faithfulness of God, that even in tough times, even in difficult times, He's still faithful. And one of the favorite things I love to say, especially in these last 18 to 24 months through this pandemic and, racial unrest and the political tribalism and all of that, in the midst of all of that, where it feels like life is out of control, and in some ways that the world is going to hell in a handbasket, this is what I know for sure. God is still God. In other words, He's still in control. There's nothing beyond His reach. And here's what makes me hopeful. God is still good. He is still my daddy God, my Abba Father. He is still the one that delights to give His children His kingdom. He is still the one that knows every hair on your head. He's still the one that planned your life before your life began. And the hardships are not a reflection of the character of God. However, the character of God covers us and sustains us in hardship. So what gives me hope is the goodness of God that I see all around me, even in difficulties. I'll finish by just quoting Job. When he was going through injustice, he lost everything and did nothing to deserve that. And in the midst of that, he said, though He may slay me, yet will I trust Him. It takes a mighty intimate relationship with God to get to that place. To say, even if you kill me, it won't kill my trust in you. And so that's what I'm seeking every day, to get to that point. I don't want to go through what Job went through. Let me be clear. But I do want to get to that point that no matter what happens, I'll trust Him. And that gives me hope.
And that gives me so much hope and makes me cry. Oh, Debbie, thank you so much for sharing from your heart with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Everyone, make sure you follow Debbie Turner Bell. Pick up Courageous Faith. It's out on Daily Bread Publishing, Our Daily Bread. And you can find a little best of highlights tomorrow morning at rootandvinenews.com of our conversation that we thank the Lord got to have after all of those technical difficulties. But I think that God was showing me some things as well. So I am more than happy that this is how it all unfolded. And we would love to see you all back next week, 3 o'clock Eastern at the regular time. Throughout the week, we'd also love to know what's giving you all reasons to hope. It's such an encouragement to the community as we write this book of hope together. 38 weeks now. It's so encouraging to see this coming together. And Debbie, thank you again. So powerful, everything you shared, and hopefully we'll get to do this again. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Next time.